Quick question. If you were the only awakened on Earth, would you take the hero route, the villain route, or maybe the anti-hero route? Let me know the answer in the comments below. Back at the makeshift camp of the convoy, our Chad Aaron and his perverted thug lackey chill by a campfire. The other NPC mercenaries, in a bid to tame their hunger, line up for some grub. The same kind those MCs from isekai mangas always claim tastes amazing, even though we all know food in the Middle Ages wasn't that good. But hey, those MCs get hella bitches, so what do I know? Anyway, there's chatter among the mercenaries who are marveling at the amount of meat in the stew, clearly a first for them. One of them comments that if the food had been awful, he would have deserted immediately. The pervy thug comments on how laid back the mercenaries seem, wondering how they could still eat after seeing the corpses. He's curious, however, about who could have done something so vile to the villagers. His musings are interrupted by a mysterious figure walking up to them. He answers the pervy thug's question, saying it was a sacrifice. The mysterious man, who I'll call Teabag from now on, further explains that what they found was a ritual, where humans were offered to demons as sacrifices. Sitting down by the campfire, Teabag, noticing our Chad hadn't eaten anything, offers him some wine. Aaron, however, rejects the offer, saying alcohol dulled his senses. Teabag, accepting the rejection, offers the wine to the pervy thug, and as expected, the guy immediately accepts. He's not one to turn down a free drink. Aaron, nonchalantly watching their interaction, warns the pervy thug, telling him he'd kill him if he threw up. Teabag, finally sharing his name, introduces himself as John, the leader of the convoy. He notes the duo's unfamiliar faces and asks if they're mercenaries. Our boy denies this, saying he's only there for a part-time job. Teabag, not wanting to pry, changes the topic and advises the duo to eat well and get plenty of sleep. He believes the trip won't be as peaceful as they expect, which greatly shocks the pervy thug. Before he can clarify, their attention is drawn to the distant figure of Lady Viven and her guards. The mercenaries, enchanted by her beauty, comment on her nickname, the Flower of the East. The pervy thug, as expected of someone down bad, adds that he'd seen her earlier, and she was a hell of a mommy. Teabag replies that he already had a feeling this wasn't an ordinary escort mission, but even he didn't expect to see a lady and her knight there. Our boy Aaron, maintaining his silence, thinks back to their earlier interaction with Lady Viven. After questioning her on why she was there, Viven, still donning her brilliant smile, answered that she was out for a casual stroll. She found it suffocating to stay in the castle all the time and was heading to Bolt Fortress for a little breather at her father's suggestion. I don't know, guys. My mommy radar is sending me warning signals about her. But let's just wait and see. Aaron, obviously suspicious, asked if she was talking about the Lord of Cassardec. Before Viven could answer, Ben stopped her, telling her she'd said enough. He added that knowing too much came with heavy responsibilities. Mockingly glaring at Aaron, he advised him to only know what was appropriate for his position, calling him Captain of the Guards. I don't know why, but this scene reminds me of those NTR mangas right before the MC's girl gets clapped. Anyone else getting the same vibe? Back at the camp, Aaron, still lost in thought, is called out by Teabag. The latter comments on his unusual calmness in the odd situation they're in. A demon might appear. Yet Aaron doesn't seem scared at all. Aaron nonchalantly responds that they have a knight with them. The same knights trained for the sole purpose of eradicating demons. They're the Empire's elite force, and as long as they have one on their side, they should be good. He further adds that he also has his sword with him. As long as he has his sword and the slightest chance of survival, he's always made it out alive. Although his words are positive, from the sad look in his eyes, we can tell he's been through a lot, with deep scars and loneliness hidden within those brown eyes. Teabag, picking up on his tone, simply replies, "I see," and wishes him luck, letting an unnerving silence fall over the trio. The scene switches to Aaron inside a house, picking up a book. With a slight smile on his face, he nostalgically gazes at it, thinking back to when he gifted it to the little boy of the village. He remarks that it's been a while since they last saw each other, and the boy, Horn, must have grown taller. Aaron, lost in his memories, seemingly fails to notice a figure creeping up on him. The figure, hoping to catch him off guard, lunges at him, but our boy, having already sensed it, swiftly turns and lands an elbow blow to the figure's head, knocking it back. Turning to confront the stealthy assailant, Aaron is shocked to realize it's an undead, a zombie. The zombie, with a glint in its eyes, charges at Aaron again, craving his blood. But Aaron, launching his counter, swings his sword, cleanly slashing the zombie in two, its half-body dropping loudly to the ground. Somberly gazing at the fallen foe, Aaron wonders where it came from. His thoughts, however, are interrupted by a shrill scream from outside the house. The voice turns out to be the pervy thug, swinging his sword in a panic and begging the zombies not to come close to him. Isn't he supposed to be a tough mercenary? What the hell is this shit? Aaron, coming to his aid, swiftly decapitates the zombie, sending its head flying. He looms over his foe's fallen body with a somber expression on his face. The pervy thug, noticing his arrival, clings to our boy like a damsel in distress. Aaron, irked by his reaction, tells him to calm down and asks where everyone else is. The pervy thug, still in tears, replies that they're screwed. Everyone in the convoy had passed out and won't wake up. It's like they've been put under a sleeping spell. Aaron, gradually realizing the danger of the situation, wonders if it's magic. However, if that's the case, how come only the pervy thug and himself were unaffected? Suddenly realizing something, he notes that it must have been the meal from earlier. However, since it wasn't poisoned but only drugged, he deduces that the mastermind's goal is to capture someone alive, and that someone is most likely Viven. The pervy thug, drawing our boy from his thoughts, points toward a horde of zombies, telling him they're screwed. The horde, sensing the vitality in them, collectively charges at the duo. Aaron, still unfazed, calmly walks forward. Drawing his sword, he muses he'll warm up with the low-level zombies before the real game starts. Activating Demon Time, his aura completely changes, the sheer pressure of his presence pressing down on everyone. With a simple swing of his sword, he casually splits a zombie in two. Continuing his rampage, he unleashes a flurry of slashes, dicing the zombies into bits, blood and gore following his every move. With a mighty swing, he delivers a vertical slash on an unsuspecting zombie, cleanly splitting it in half from head to toe. Somberly staring at the advancing horde, his body bathed in the blood of the vanquished, he asks if that had finally woken them up, calling it the army's wake-up call. Unrelenting, he lunges at the incoming horde, unbothered by their numbers, his sword ringing in the starry night. After a while, Aaron, now standing in the rain amidst the fallen zombie bodies, casually wipes the blood from his face. Although his breathing is a little labored, he appears to be completely fine. Hearing a distant growl, he curses, wondering if he'd missed one. Turning around, Aaron is shocked by the sight before him. Blonde hair, green attire. The eyes that were once full of life are now gone, replaced by hollow black sockets, leaking dark blood. Aaron somberly stares at the approaching zombie. Just as he expected, the boy from his memories, Horn, had indeed grown taller. We flash back to 2 years prior when Aaron was fleeing from his pursuers. He had settled down in a small village, hiding from his chasers. Horn, still a young and vibrant kid back then, called out to Aaron, addressing him as Sir Knight. Aaron, lying on the forest floor, teasingly asked Horn who he was calling Sir Knight. Horn replied, saying he had seen it in a book, that knights were strong and cool. Horn, the son of a village farmer, loved books despite his humble background. Showing Aaron a picture of a knight in armor, he beamed, saying Aaron was the strongest and coolest person he knew. Aaron rubbed his hair, telling him he loved to talk nonsense. Horn, feigning annoyance, complained, but it was obvious he liked the attention, just as Aaron did, as shown by his broad smile and peaceful demeanor. He genuinely liked the kid. Their happy moments are a sharp contrast to the present, where the boy is now an undead, and Aaron is left with no option but to slay him. Back then, even after Aaron had settled in Kasserdic Fortress, he still visited Horn. He remembered the glint in Horn's eyes when he told him about the library in Kasserdic, full of books. He told Horn that librarians were buried in books all day, and the bookworm visibly glowed in anticipation, sharing his wish to be a librarian one day. Aaron encouraged him, saying it was a perfect fit for someone like Horn. We switch to the present, where Aaron has no choice but to kill Horn. As he readies his sword, he reflects on how some believe demons feed on human fear. His sword, although mighty enough to cause a powerful gust of wind, falls short of reaching the kid. His labored expression clearly indicates his troubled mindset and the unfair choice he's forced to make. He flashes back to a time when Horn came to him bruised. Aaron had asked what happened, and Horn replied that his father had beaten him for expressing his wish to become a librarian. The angry father had insisted that a farmer's son could only be a farmer. The incident had deeply hurt Horn, who had cried uncontrollably, and all Aaron could do was watch. Aaron knows people's beliefs are wrong. Demons don't feed on fear, they feast on despair. Dropping his sword, Aaron hugs Horn. Holding the undead boy tightly, he tells him he was never a knight. His hand rests on Horn's head, just as it did back then. As he pulls the boy closer, he says he was just a fortress guard. With that, he snaps Horn's neck, peacefully ending his life. As the boy's undead hands drop motionlessly to the side, Aaron continues to hold him, overwhelmed by sorrow. The gloomy weather mirrors Aaron's mood, with rain falling endlessly from the sky. Despite the horde of monsters behind him, Aaron doesn't seem to care. His entire focus is on Horn, now lying dead before him. Pervy Thug, with perfect timing, calls out to Aaron, saying he's finally managed to wake up the sleeping mercenaries. Leading the charge, the mercenaries lunge at the zombies, intent on wiping them out. Aaron, still focused on Horn, closes his eyes and tells him to rest in peace, hoping nothing more will trouble him after death. His painful goodbye amidst the chaotic battle going on around him is heartbreaking, enough to bring a tear to the eye. Some manly tears. A fiery explosion sounds, adding even more chaos to the tragic night. The mercenaries quickly identify it as coming from the temporary residence of Viven. Grabbing his sword, Aaron slowly walks toward the burning building, leaving one final whisper for the fallen Horn. "I'll avenge you." We switch to Vivian's residence, where, like everything else fucked up that night, a massacre is underway. The bodies of guards and maidservants lie sprawled on the ground, lifeless. The sole survivors are an unconscious Vivian and her knight, Ben, who seems to be on his last leg. Ben comments that, due to rumors of an attack on Vivian's life in Cassardec, they had secretly planned to flee to Bolt Fortress. The rumor turned out to be true. Although he never expected them to target such a secret procession, he stands tall, his rapier glowing with his aura, refusing to back down. He quips that holding a sword to protect a lady is part of the happiness and romance of being a knight, even if the opponent is a vile demon. Staring resolutely at the demon, he warns it to step back. The demon, grinning sadistically, remarks that Ben is a knight who likes to yap. Catching on to Ben's scheme, the demon informs him that while he's trying to buy time to heal by talking so much, he shouldn't get his hopes up. The dagger Ben was stabbed with was coated in a vicious poison, and the stew they ate was also laced with poison. The effects should already be showing, and Ben's mind must be foggy by now. Mocking Ben, the demon asks if he really thought he stood a chance of survival. Ben retorts with a witty comment, mocking the demon's vile nature and ugly appearance. The enraged demon furthers its transformation, with numerous strange eyes sprouting from its left arm. Lunging at Ben with its demon claws, it warns him to watch his words. Ben leaps back, barely dodging the devastating slam of the demon's attack. The crushed floor proves his choice to evade was the right one. Analyzing his aura, Ben notes that due to the poison, it's barely half of his usual power, and his aura is nearly gone. However, because the demon's left arm is the only part transformed, Ben knows to target the uncorrupted areas. As the demon launches its grotesque claw at him, Ben executes his plan. Dodging the attack, he readies his rapier, aura set to the maximum. Seizing his opening, he delivers a powerful stab aimed at the demon's neck. But the demon, anticipating Ben's move, dodges the attack and counters. Grabbing Ben by the throat, the demon begins choking him. Mocking Ben, it tells him that stabbing its untransformed parts won't kill it. Vowing to end Ben's life, the demon tightens its grip as the knight coughs blood from the damage. Ben, on the verge of defeat, notices a surprising sight. Aaron, our boy, has stealthily approached the demon, sword in hand, ready to strike. He's come to avenge Horn. In one mighty slash, Aaron decapitates the demon, splattering its blood everywhere. With a deadly glare, he tells it to accept its death by his hands.